Good morning, class and Ms. Jones. Our team multimedia presentation was on the topic of cultural diversity in the workplace.
A question you guys might have is how diverse is the education system? Well, this graph gives you the answer. This graph goes from 1990 to 2018. As you can see by this graph, about 80% to about 60 to 80% of teachers about 60 to 80% of teachers in the preschool and kindergarten sectors majority of them are white, with African American and other races not getting past the 20% mark.
As you can see by these two pie charts here, the state governor's demographics for 2025 consist of 90% white people, only 5% black, and 7% Pacific Islander. And for the other pie chart, 70% accounts for males and 30% accounts for females.
This graph shows, as of 2013, the diversity in our government. Historically, the presidency has been 98% white and 100% male. And for the Supreme Court, it's been 78% white and 66% male. And Congress is not much better. As of 2013, Congress was 82% white and 81% male.
Our research question as a group was, how does cultural diversity in education, government, and medical sectors impact employee performance, innovation, and profitability?
In our presentation, we will go over what does our culture mean, what were our individual studies on, why is this important, and what are the possible solutions.
What is cultural diversity? If you were to look up the definition of cultural diversity on your phone, you would find this: the existence of a variety of culture or ethnic groups within a society. But after further research, we found out cultural diversity is characteristics of a group of two or more people and typically refers to the demographic differences of one sort or among other group members. Societal factors such as cultural norms and values significantly impact the effectiveness of cultural diversity in the workplace.
Now for the education part of our presentation.
How diverse is the education workplace? As you can see by the pie chart, again, 80% of the educational workplace in the United States for public schools is white. And about 10% is Hispanic, 6.7 accounts for black people, 2.4 is Asian, and the other is for Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders. And also 77% of teachers are women and only 23% are men.
Feeding off of what he said, why is it like this? Why in our education sectors are most of our teachers female and white? Starting with historical precedents in the teaching profession, teaching has historically been a field dominated by women due to societal expectations of gender roles. White women in particular were encouraged to become teachers during the 19th century and 20th century because it was an acceptable career for women. 2, pipeline issues in teacher preparation. Teaching education programs in colleges and universities have historically been less accessible to underrepresented groups. Factors like cost, discrimination, and lack of outreach to diverse community mean fewer people of color pursuing these degrees. 3, pay and prestige of teaching profession. Teaching is often underpaid and undervalued compared to other professions requiring similar education. This can deter individuals from marginalized groups who may seek higher paying careers to achieve economic stability. 4, bias in careers and recruitment retention. School districts often fail to actively recruit teachers of color or create inclusive environments to retain them. Teachers for underrepresented backgrounds may face microaggressions, lack of support, or feelings of isolation predominantly in schools. And lastly, 5, demographics of student population. The lack of diversity in teaching mirrors system inequalities in education more broadly. Communities with predominantly students of color often struggle with fewer resources, making it harder to attract and retain diverse education sectors.
And here are the 5 benefits that come from a culturally diverse classroom. 1, students become more empathetic with minorities. 2, students gain a better understanding of lessons and other people that are culturally different from them. 3, students become more open-minded to other cultures that they aren't used to. 4, students feel more confident in their self and more safe. 5, students are better prepared for a diverse workplace in the future.
Here are some solutions to the problem of cultural diversity in the classroom. According to studies from Oru, Mark, and others, we could create a more inclusive climate in schools, include more ethnically diverse authors in school texts, implement assemblies for students, inform them about diversity, and implement staff workshops for staff to stay up to date with the latest educational practices surrounding cultural diversity.
Now for the government part of our presentation.
How diverse is our government? This is from 2023. So 309 out of 441 of our representatives in the House of Representatives are white. And the Senate is not much better. 88 out of 100 senators are white.
Why is it like this? Why is our government mostly filled with white men that make decisions for us every day? 1. Historical foundations. As we all know, when the U.S. government was established, it was designed primarily by the white and wealthy men. Women, people of color, indigenous people, and others were excluded from voting, running for office, and participating in political life for much of the nation's history. 2. Economic and education barriers. Running for office is expensive and time-consuming. Communities that have historically marginalized often lack the wealth or access to resources that make political careers more obtainable. 3. Political parties and gatekeeping. Political parties are often favor candidates who fit traditional and electable molds, which tend to align with the majority of demographics. 4. Voter suppression and gerrymandering. Taxes like voter ID laws, gerrymandering, and restrictions on voting access disproportionately affect minority communities, making it harder for diverse voices to gain representation. And lastly, 5. Implicit bias and stereotypes. Candidates from underrepresented groups often face discrimination and stereotypes, whether in fundraising, media coverage, or during campaigns, which can discourage them from running or hurt the chances of winning. But progress is happening. There has been significant progress in the recent years with more women, people of color, members of the LGBTQ+ community being elected in office. However, it's a slow process of undoing centuries of systemic exclusion. I got that all according to Britton Chapman's article on why is cultural diversity like this.
Now I'll go over some success stories of people in government. In 2009, President Barack Obama beat all odds by becoming the first African-American president of the United States. On August 30th, 1967, Thurgood Marshall became the first African-American appointed as Supreme Court Justice. In 1870, Aaron Rhodes Rivers became the first African-American to be named as a congressman.
Something currently happening in our everyday lives is Executive Order 1124. Executive Order 1124, signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson on September 25, 1965, was a landmark directive aimed at promoting equal employment opportunities. It prohibited federal contractors and subcontractors from discriminating against employees or job applicants based on race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or national origin. Additionally, it mandated affirmative action to ensure that applicants and employees were treated fairly in aspects of employment, including recruitment, hiring, training, and promotion. On January 21st, 2025, President Donald Trump issued an executive order titled Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity, which revoked Executive Order 1124. This new directive significantly alters the landscape of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, particularly for federal contractors. I got that according to DOL.gov.
Now, many people argue that this executive order was a positive thing, since now they will no longer have to hire people based on race, but instead based on their merit. But throughout history, it has been proven that even when two people are both qualified for the job, the other person of the opposite race will have a higher chance of being accepted.
This is just a little bit more to know about cultural diversity in government. It embraces the benefits of change and opens a new door for new possibilities. It allows members from other cultures to give a logical and unbiased opinion on the subject matter. And it also allows for more representation for those who don't have a fair chance of being in the government. Here are some solutions and benefits. According to D'Agostino and others, in their study, they said we could collect and share data internally about staff diversity and inclusion, teach employees about people of different backgrounds and cultures, and a benefit of this will be policies implemented will benefit more people.
Now we're going on to the medical part of our presentation. Now, another question you might be wondering is how diverse is the medical sector? Well, by these graphs, you can see that that 60% of all healthcare workers are white, along with 45% in aides and personal care workers, 53% in direct contact support workers, and 67% in healthcare providers.
Going along with what Lincoln said, here are 5 reasons why the medical sector is not as diverse as you may think. Systemic barriers in education, historical exclusion, bias in recruitment, cultural and gender norms, and age discrimination. Patient engagement and visibility. Make outreach programs. Partner with minority communities, schools, and local organizations to encourage participation in government, medicine, and education.
Thank you for watching our presentation. The following slides include our work site.